So the night before I took the exam, I actually promised myself that if I passed it, I would write a Yelp review on that company's website to help anybody that was looking to pass the exam by giving them the outline of how I studied for it. What's up guys, it's Jason D'Souza again. I'm here to teach you how to study for and pass your real estate license exam. And I'm sure that most of you know the basic requirements at this point, like being 18 years of age, applying for the exam, getting your fingerprints, and also finishing the background check. And after all that, finally getting to take the salesperson's license exam. One of my biggest recommendations is that if you already know what brokerage you're going to be working with, then fill out all of the paperwork that is necessary to start working as soon as you finish and pass the exam. Now keep in mind that I took the exam in California and the company that I went with was Real Estate Trainers. There are 150 questions on it. You have 3 hours and 15 minutes to complete it. You have to get at least a 70% to pass, which is equivalent to 105 correct answers. So now that you have that information, I'm going to break down what I did for the exam, and the best way that I'm going to show you and that you guys can pull up as well is by looking at the Yelp review that I left for the company that I took my practice exams with. So now what I'm going to do is jump into my computer and go through the Yelp review that I wrote and break down everything that I did so that you guys can get an idea of how I studied for it, and hopefully you guys can do the same. Alright guys, now that we're in my computer, I'm going to show you guys the class that I took to study for my real estate license exam. I'm going to show you the Yelp review that I left that has all of the information of how I studied for and passed, and I'm going to give you some additional tips to help you along the way. So first of all, the school that I attended was Real Estate Trainers. So you'll find it on the very top, and you can also see that there's a bunch of Yelp reviews about it. It's got 4.5 stars at 340 reviews, so that's pretty decent. So when you click on that, you're going to want to go to Salesperson Pre-License because everything else is not related to what we're looking at. We want to get License, and this page will pop up. And over here it says the salesperson's license packages, and there's different packages for what you have. Now if you haven't signed up with another school or if you haven't done anything else, then you're going to want the 3-course package because that includes everything that you need to study for. So what you're going to want to do is click on the 3-course package exam, and it'll show you exactly what's in it. So right here it says the principles book, it has the practice book, and it has one elective course. And most people normally pick the California Real Estate Law book. I personally chose property management because that's something that I want to do for myself later on when I start getting properties. It also has the salesperson crash course, which is extremely helpful, and also the practice exams. So after you finish these 3 books and learning all the information, passing these tests, then you're going to want to register for the real estate license exam through the board, and then taking the crash course about a few days or even a week depending on how you are doing with your material, and then after take the actual test. And another really helpful thing is the practice exams to get you to the point where you feel comfortable, because it is actually simulated like the real exam. So let's click on this for right now, the crash course, so I can show you. If you get this without the package, it's $199. And if you get it with the package, it's going to be a lot cheaper. And that's why I recommend this package. And also the salesperson's exams, you get 900 questions and a total of 6 exams to complete. And I actually had an issue with the last 2 exams, and I'll be discussing that in the Yelp review. So I'm actually going to show you the Yelp review. So Real Estate Trainers Yelp, what we saw earlier, and here it is. So you're just going to want to read through these and see how many people found it to be useful. This guy wrote his review. There are 14 people that found it useful. And if you go to the second page, you're actually going to find my review. And here I am. And here's my long Yelp review. And the reason why it's so long is because I actually took the time to tell whoever was going to take the exam how to study for it. And see, I even have here, there are 4 main things you must do to pass. So I'm going to discuss this really quick and go over what you guys need to do to get this out of the way, get this test done so you can start practicing real estate. So let's start here. The 4 main things you must do to pass. Use YouTube videos to understand material you're struggling with. Buy and take the Computrainer exams. Take the crash course and memorize the definitions. So like I said, the Computrainer exams and the crash course are extremely important in getting your license. So here I recommended a guy named Prep Agent. So if you look him up, if you go to YouTube and you look up Prep Agent, he'll come up immediately. This guy was amazing with his material. He really broke things down. He taught his material very well to people that are specifically studying for this exam. So I highly recommend going to his YouTube channel and just supplementing the material that you don't understand in the books with this guy's information. So moving on, the Computrainer. I gave this review 4 out of 5 stars for one reason, and that was because the exams, the last 2 exams, were not representative of the state exam, and it's because they were older exams. And so when I took these last 2 exams for the Computrainer test out of the 6, and these were the night before the exam, I got really low scores. It says 60 and 50 here because the math was on there. And I want to tell you guys right now that when I took the exam, my version had 0 math problems on it. Also, make sure that you just listen to your course instructor and ask them, like, hey, how is the exam now? How are people faring on the exam? Is there any math on it that I need to worry about? And see what they have to say, because they're always up to date. Your course instructors always know what's happening to the exams, what changes are being made. And so I also listed the reasons why you should get the program, and that's because there were around 20 to 25 problems that I recognized from the practice exams right off the bat in Computrainer. So that was the first reason why I recommend it. And then also, it helps you to critically think through the answer choices. So that's what you're going to be doing on the exam. So the Computrainer software is mimicking how the state exam is written. And so it doesn't get better than to have similar questions and to even have, a few questions that will be representative or exactly the same on the test. And there's also the definitions. So make sure that you learn your vocab. And I put here that you need to look up and memorize the words that you don't understand. I recommend here a free program called Anki, and it's a computer-based program that you can put flashcards in. If you want, write out the definitions on flashcards. That's another great way. Flashcards are the way to go. That's how I studied in undergrad and in graduate school as well. And also the crash course. So going back to the crash course, my guy was Lance, and he explained it very well. I took it online. I took the crash course online, and he was able to explain all the details that were needed for the exam. And I actually screen recorded his class session because it was so fast paced that I was actually falling behind, and I'm glad I recorded it because I was able to go back and I watched it, I think, a couple of times, and the sections that I didn't even know, I wrote down notes for. So that's an option too. If you guys want, you can screen record it and then learn over and over again things that you are struggling with. And I actually made a cheat sheet from the course. So the day of the exam, I actually went through it a couple of times. I went through and I learned I went through the definitions. I learned the things that I was struggling with, and I went in and obviously I passed on the first try. So right here, under this crash course section, I put my suggestions on how to study for it. So the first one was to take the Computrainer test a few days before the crash course, so you get a feel of the questions being asked. Then you'll be able to take the crash course and know how those questions are going to be. And here I have it. After you take the crash course, make sure that you take a minimum of the first 4 exams, understanding each test completely before moving on to the next one. So you don't want to just blindly take the first test and say, okay, you know what, I'm done. You want to go back over that test and figure out why you got the questions wrong that you did. So that's something else to keep in mind. And then once you finish the first test, then you can go to the second, go over those answers, then go to the third, take it, go over those answers, and then by the 4th exam you'll have an idea of how it's structured and the way that you can really hone in on what the test is going to be like. Number 3, unless you're extremely confident in the material and your ability to pass, don't schedule the exam the day after the crash course. And the instructor will oftentimes say like, yeah, no, you're ready after this course, but I personally am grateful that I did not take the exam right off after the course. And the reason is because there's so much more information that you need to cover after you take that crash course, like ways to study or ways to take the exam, the new material that they give you for the exam, like questions that are not in the Computrainer, that are now new questions on the state exam. Moving on to number 4, you will run into questions on the exam that you're not going to see in the Computrainer or the crash course. And that can be really intimidating because you will go through the material in the books, in the crash course, in the online exams, and then you'll see these questions that you've never seen and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And I have here, don't be thrown off by these, just use the tips from the course given by the instructor and make educated guesses. And as you can see here, 16 people voted for my review, 23 found it useful, and 5 said cool. I have no idea what that means, but that gives you an idea. And you know, not many people have that high of a review compared to mine, because I actually took the time. I took maybe 2 hours to sit down and really think about what I wanted people to know about this company and how to pass the exam. So I really hope this helps you guys.
Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I just want to say, for those of you taking your licensing exam this week or in the next couple of days or even a month from now, best of luck. I hope that you can pass and be out here in the field with me. It is one heck of a journey, but I know that you guys can do it. So if you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments section if you want to see any other videos, etc. But until then, I will see you all in the next video. Take care, guys.